Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to share with you guys my own story, how I got multiple offers from Google, Amazon, and top companies in the Silicon Valley with a newborn. Okay, one quick reminder before we start is if you haven't subscribed to my channel, feel free to hit the subscribe now. And this channel, I share a lot of things about UX, from interviewing tips to design exercises, career advice. So if you are interested to hear more, please subscribe to my channel, UB321, so you won't miss any of my upcoming sessions. So 2020 is almost to the end of the year, and it's such an unusual year with a lot of things happened with the pandemic. And to me, when I reflecting this year, one big move that I made was actually change the job while having my newborn. I am right now, I'm a UX designer working for Google on the YouTube ads team. And I made the move in April, back to April this year, which I think that's around the time a lot of companies started the policy of working from home with the pandemic going on. So I had a whole remote onboarding process, and my interview process was kind of a mix. I had some face-to-face opportunities, but some other companies, the interview were done completely remote for even the final on-site session. So I wanted to share my own journey and how I got multiple offers from Google, Amazon, and other top name companies in the Silicon Valley with a newborn. So I have talked to a lot of folks recently who started job searching or in the middle of it, and I know it can be very stressful, and so hopefully my story can be somewhat helpful for you guys. By no means represent any common patterns, and especially the timeline, I think it's so much varied by individual case, but just wanted to share. If you can take any helpful tips from here, I'll be really happy. So a little bit about the timeline. First of all, basically 1 month after I gave birth to my baby, I started preparation of my portfolio. I had a portfolio web, which the platform is there, but the projects are outdated. So I dedicated roughly 3 weeks amount of time to work on adding new projects and polish my portfolio. And so that was roughly early January. And I started my job search somewhere around early February. I started first talking with companies. I was just looking for any online positions, opportunities in the Bay Area, and started having conversations, get to know the market, the position, to kind of really help myself know where I am, and also to get some idea about the market. I started getting, after sending those applications through internal referrals, through online systems, I started hearing back and started getting interviewing opportunities with mid to large size companies. One question a lot of people have for interviewing with big companies is the process and amount of questions or interviews they have to deal with can be really overwhelming, because I can't speak for other roles, but for UX designer is many different rounds, started from the first intro recruiter phone interview as a screener, and then you might move on to the next round, have more technical interviews, and there will be design exercises. You might get a whiteboard challenge, you might get an app critics, and then some of the companies will ask you to do a design challenge, like a take-home design exercise. You'll have a few days to come up with a solution package to explain how you approach the problem and what solutions you came up with. Most of the case, it will require some high fidelity visual of the idea. So it can take some time, and especially with the large companies, and the actual interviewing process from the starting point to actually getting an offer, it really varies. So from what I hear, it can take anywhere from 2 to 3 months to half a year, because even after you get the job offer, it can take some time to fight for the team matching, to actually find a team or a hiring manager that are interested on you, and also at the same time you are interested to join their team. That's the part called team matching, which can take actually really can range from a couple of days to a couple of months. A good part is, I think, from what I hear, at least like a lot of the like top companies, like for example Google and Amazon, they will save your spot. It's kind of like, for example, if you pass all the interview and you basically got a yes after the final round, even though you don't find an immediate match, they will save your or keep your record for like half a year, up to a year, depends on different companies. So you will like be able to have the opportunity during that time to continue talking to potential hiring managers or from different teams to like see if there's a good match. So that's a really plus factor. So I would rather like instead of focusing on those areas, try to focus first of all from your end, how can you best present yourself at of what the projects you have worked on, your background, your experience, and be very confident and comfortable talking through it, no matter you have 10 minutes or an hour. So today, back to our topic, I want to focus on, there are a couple of tips I want to share with you guys, like what helped me to really nail multiple offers within a short amount of time with a newborn at the same time. So the first thing I want to talk about is to have a strategy. Basically, I think 1 month after I gave the birth to my baby and I started the actual like preparing for my interviewing, upcoming interviews, because back then, you know, like there are so many things I was dealing with in life, and yes, I was on my maternity leave, but you know, I'm sure any of you who are parents or I guess becoming parents, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, the amount of like, I think, unknown and hassles you are dealing with in life with a new addition to the family. Of course, it's tons of joy, I admit, but it's also like for the first time mom, it was a lot and a lot of stress on my shoulder. But at the same time, I had a plan, I had a goal, I want to make a career move. In my own career path, I was ready to take on another challenge. And I think first of all, have a clear goal, which is really important, which is part of the strategy. So what I meant by that is know what you want, know what is your ideal dream job look like. And to me, back then it was pretty clear because I was back then was leading a small design team at my previous company, kind of personal life change and families, new members. You know, I think I was looking for many different perspectives from like work-life balance and stability, which is really like important to me from different side of like reasons. Have a clear goal. Are you aiming for a startup, mid-sized company, established, or the flag? So, you know, have a clear goal where you're aiming that can help you to work backwards, how you want to start and plan your job searching process. And the next thing I want to talk about, also tied up to the subject of strategy, is to have a timeline. You know, I guess for probably it's common for many designer roles, especially like we're all dealing with like setting up portfolio. That was like a must-have to get your job searching and interviewing process started. And I realized that like a lot of designers tends to spend overthinking about their own work and to continue working on and polishing it, and end up spending way too much time on getting actually the interviewing process started. So back then, you know, I set up a rough roadmap for myself, you know, I guess working on it, like to prepare for your own interview, like using the UX mindset, you also want to have a plan, have a strategy. So my case was, I plan to like, I started preparing my portfolio, which I had like a existing one, but I was like basically adding new projects and polishing it. So I set myself like 3 weeks to get a portfolios ready. And so that really, like, I think also have a rough goal, like each week, what you want to accomplish. For example, the first week I was purely working on storylines, and I did not worry about layout or visual assets at all. I was purely like laying out, typing down in a doc, like what are the projects that I feel most proud of that I want to talk about or I want to showcase on my portfolio. So start from there, and in the second week I was started like putting things together, the assets from like lo-fi wireframes and adding those like, you know, the visual assets to make the story kind of coming together. And the last week I was really focusing on the actual web platform that I used, which was Wix.com, to build my portfolio. So that last week was really, you know, once you have the meat bones ready, like, you know, the story and the assets, that week I was really spending like focusing on putting things together in a presentable way on the portfolio. In short, I think have a strategy, have a timeline, know what's your goal. That will set yourself a really good start to kick off your job searching process. One other thing I want to touch on around the subject of having a strategy is, what I just mentioned about having a goal. Why? There are a couple of reasons, and one obvious one is, well, if your like dream job is to get into company A or company B, you probably don't want to start your interview right with those companies. I think most of us take some time to warm up, and interviewing process is an art that takes a lot of practice. So I would recommend when you started like the job searching process, talking to different companies, start with the ones that you don't feel like the most ideal positions for you, but use those as opportunities to exchange information. So one other tip I want to share with you guys is ask the recruiter as many questions as you have. And the point is, during my mentorship hours with a lot of your students or designers looking to get into the field, I hear a lot of questions. For example, I just got an interview and I wonder how many projects I should, if I get to the presentation phase, how many projects I should talk about, should I make it like a PDF presentation or should I just use my web portfolio? A lot of those questions, the best person to ask is the recruiter on the job position that you're interviewing for. Every company has its own culture and different process, but at the end of the day, the goal of the recruiter is eventually help the company find the right person. So, from the interviewee perspective, you kind of share the same goal here. Hiring manager is different, which is, on the other hand, is looking to find the best fit for this position. But my point is the recruiter is really there to help you, to support you along this whole process. So if you have any question, for example, as you move, after you had a first initial call, maybe if things worked well, you might get a notice say, okay, good news, you're getting into the next round of the interview, which you will be meeting with the hiring manager and have a 30 minutes phone call on technical interview. How should you best prepare for those kind of, next round? Feel free to ask the recruiter, will this be going to be behavior question focused interview, or should I prepare to showcase and walk through my projects? How long would it last? And, will there be any design exercise involved? And, if there is, for example, app critics, will I be the one to pick an app, or will the interview be the one to pick an app? And, how long the session will last? Ask as many questions as you have and find out those details, which are super critical because the recruiter knows about this role and they know about the process really well. So, and especially when you get to, for example, the presentation or the final round, ask who are the audience? If they can share it with you, they will. Ask will there be mostly designers, or what are the audience, to know whether it be engineers, PM, or executives. So that will help you prepare yourself, what angle and how the best you can tell your story, right? So ask the recruiter many questions and to help you clarify and any questions during the process. One other thing I want to mention is, because when I was going through the interviews, I think in February this year, I just had my baby. So there are a lot of things I was handling at home. And when I go for those interviews, especially when I got to the final round, and usually it can last almost a whole day for those big companies, and they will have arrange your day really tight schedule. And one conversation with engineer, with PM, with design, with research people, and there might be presentations starting of the day. It's basically from what I see, the schedule tends to be very packed, and it will be a very intense day most of the case. And I was gosh, I will need time to use the mother room and take some break, and I can't do this after one for a whole day. So I actually, sent an email to the recruiter asking, can I have like a 30 minutes break every 3 to 4 hours? And the answer was yes. And the recruiter helped me rearrange the schedule. So I was able to take the breaks as I need to. If you see a schedule that seems like too overwhelmed, that you think a break can help you in the middle of the day, it doesn't hurt to ask. It might be a no or it might be a yes, but you will never know unless you ask the question. Use the resource and ask as many questions as you have to the recruiter during your interviewing process. The last tip I want to share with you guys is try to use small chunks of time. As a new mom, to me, I was really like overwhelmed by like so many things at home. For example, with the baby, like there are like every couple of minutes, there are new things coming up that requires my actions from changing diapers, feedings, to cleaning bottles, and all of those. And it's really, I was struggling, how am I gonna to dedicate like a good chunk of amount of time? For example, like, well, how can I have like 3 hours so I can really, focus and finish something on the portfolio? The tips I want to share with you guys is when you have like challenges about having a long period of time, like to dedicate hours, focus on something, try to use the small chunks of time. For example, I was using those like nursing breaks, like listening to podcasts and watching YouTube videos, sharing like all those amazing tips that shared by like other folks in the field. You will be amazed how much you can actually get done by taking good use of those small chunks of time. It adds up. It really does. Like, don't underestimate like a power of 20 minutes. If it happens like multiple times throughout the day, like you will be able to learn a lot. And so try to use small chunks of time. But if you have the time to focus, and it's called like flow state, which basically means, if you can actually get into the focus state, like without any distractions, and use whatever method you need, whether it's a venti cup of latte or I don't know, like a bubble tea or music, whatever you need, like try to find the things that can help you focus and get yourself really fast into those flow state, because once you get into the flow state, that's the most powerful productive time energy you have, so you can accomplish a lot in that time slot. And in addition to that, try to use the small chunks of time and you will be really amazed how much you can get done. Okay, that's all I have for today. So hope my story of how I got multiple offers from Google, Amazon, and other top name companies in the Silicon Valley while dealing with a newborn can be somewhat helpful to your own journey. So I think job searching is a lot. This process and interviewing, it's a constant process of, dealing with unknown. And a lot of time we're so anxious about, okay, what's the result? Am I going to be able to move forward to the next round? And one attitude change, saying I learned from a friend is, instead of focus on the result, just take the interviews as a opportunity for exchange of information. Because, you never know, it might how it's going to turn out. Try to take it as just an opportunity. You're there just to exchange information, find out more about this role, about this company, about the people working there, how do you feel about them, have a conversation. That's it, and see how it moves, and if it works out, great. If not, move on to the next one. So yeah, that's all I have for today. At the end, I want to share with you guys a book that I really like. It's called Essentialism, The Disciplined Pursuit of Less by McKeown. It's a book talks a lot about, when we are dealing with so many things in work and life, and they're constantly happening, like, oh, there's urgent things, there are fires you need to put out, but what can we do to actually focus on what's the most important rather than the urgent? There is a thing I remember I read, like, say, if you don't own your schedule, or if you don't make your schedule, somebody else will. And I find it's very true. So if you're interested, feel free to take a look at this book. I think it's really helped me a lot. So hope you guys like it too. So that's all I have. Yeah, this time, that's really all I have for this video. And let me know if you have any things you want to hear more about, topics you guys want to hear. Leave me a comment. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you guys. Bye.